we've seen, I mentioned this on a podcast the other day. When I was in college, in history class, we studied what was then called the watershed election of 1932. 1932 was a historic election.
Into this war.
Yes.
Because we're going to put this episode out
Yes.
literally right away, next couple of days. But, you know, the funding, I can see where you want to take advantage of the opportunity. I draw the line at we're at 1 million lives and like, no offense, the fact that Zelensky thinks that this is his decision to make is fucking insane because my money bought something and it bought our right to make the fucking decision.
100%. You are right. We should get a say. You know, I made kind of
a say. We need to make
the
shot.
decision. I made a joke when we first started talking today that, you know, this lefty is becoming a Donald Trump true believer. Trump just said the war's going to end, period. Like it or lump it, the war's going to end. Yeah. Make whatever plans you need to make. And he's exactly right. And I'll tell you where he really won me. He won me yesterday, and it was just such a crazy push notification on my phone that I saw. I didn't believe it. He's going to cut the Pentagon budget by 8% a year for the next 5 years. Yep. Show me one Democrat who's ever even proposed such a cut.
Well, they used to. It's come full circle.
In the olden days of the 60s and 70s.
It's come full circle. Where there are liberal ideas that are now that are now like opted by the right, and the left's like, no.
We've seen, I mentioned this on a podcast the other day. When I was in college, in history class, we studied what was then called the watershed election of 1932. 1932 was a historic election in American politics, Roosevelt, because the Republican Party was the liberal party. It was the party of the North. It was the party of labor. And it was the Democrats that were the conservative Southern party, the slaveholders. And they switched sides in the election of 1932. Franklin Roosevelt had been a Republican. He had been the governor of New York. He had been the secretary of the Navy. And he was a Republican. Of course, his cousin, Teddy Roosevelt, was also a Republican. Mm-hmm. So he was economically a Republican, but the Republicans had led the country to the Great Depression. And so Roosevelt decided to run for president as a Democrat. He was Democratic governor. He decided to run as a Democrat, but to adopt a lot of the Republican Party's policies, especially on labor, right? And on poverty. And so that election in 1932 caused the two parties to switch sides ideologically. So we studied that for decades. Here we are. My position is between 2016 and 2024, we've seen a slow motion watershed led by Donald Trump, where the parties are switching sides again. Maybe not all the way.
Yeah, not all the way, but
we saw in 32.
Yeah.
But it's the Republicans who are the anti-war party, for example. It's the Republicans who are the labor party. Listen, when 67% of organized labor families, union families, vote Republican,
nuts. That's nuts.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan wished he had numbers like that. And he won a majority, not like Trump did.
Not like that.
So couple that with the fact that the Democrats just have no idea what they're doing right now. It's just a state of chaos over there at the DNC. We don't even know who the Democratic Party's leaders are right now. There are 4 or 5 people who claim to be the leaders of the Democratic Party. Are they? Really?
You know, it's a handful of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fit. This is why I feel like it's a uniparty system, because if you gave anyone with a normal head the power to go like run the DNC tomorrow, they could win over the country immediately.
Yeah.
Cut the woke shit.
Right.
Cut the trans shit. Cut the vaccine shit. Mm-hmm. Cut the fucking don't look at the border shit. Cut the endless war shit, which I will correct one thing. There is still a contingent of the Republican Party that does support that.
And they came out, they reared their heads this week.
Yes. And then I forget what the 6th one is. There's one more I have in there somewhere. But these are very common sense type things. By the way, stances that like Obama had 10 years ago.
Yes.
You know? And they don't do that. And what's now it's like people are so pissed off about it that I see the hard whipsaw back. And that could have some reverberations that people, including myself, aren't going to like. And it's just the equal but opposite reaction physics law of life. Like, this is what happens when you go too far with stupid shit. People are going to see through it.
So true.
You know, when I see someone with a Ukraine flag in their bio, I can go through their next fucking 40 policies word for word. And they probably don't even know what these policies mean, but that's what they were told to do.
Absolutely right. And you know, when you see on the evening news Hillary Clinton literally kneeling in front of Henry Kissinger, that's not a brag.
No.
Henry Kissinger's a war criminal.
Yeah.
When you see Kamala Harris championing and announcing her endorsement by Dick Cheney, that is not a brag.
You forgot the IRS too.
And the IRS.
And Diddy clients all the same week.
Yes.
Trifecta.
Yeah, seriously. So, you know, I came from a Democratic family. My grandfather had a framed picture of Franklin Roosevelt on top of the TV all the years I was growing up until he died. I still have the picture. I was a third generation Democrat. And I quit the Democrats in 2012. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I agree with you that on most issues, we've got a uniparty. Two sides of the same coin. You can sort of tinker around the edges with some differences, but for the most part, they're the same. They're getting farther apart now.
Oh, let me correct that because I explained that wrong then. I'm not saying they're the same in what they say verbally.
No, I agree.
What I'm saying is the reason I think there's a uniparty is because these people openly endorse the 5 or 6 stances I just gave, and they know it's bullshit.
Sure.
So why are they, and they know it's against the polls, so why are they doing it?
It's the same thing with Israel.
Yeah.
They'll tell you privately, oh my God, what's happening in Gaza? Oh my God, all these 100,000 people, they're almost all women and children. Oh my God, how's this happening? How's it happening? You gave Benjamin Netanyahu 186 standing ovations in his last 2 speeches.
It was 4 times more per second than Kim Jong-un. There's something like that. Pull that.
See?
Can we get that stat? Yeah.
Outrageous.
It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. And you know, another thing is corruption with the Democrats. I use this example all the time. I'm going to use it again. How in the world can Bernie Sanders win 60% to Hillary Clinton's 40% in the West Virginia caucus and the Wyoming caucus, and Bernie Sanders doesn't win a single delegate? Hillary Clinton wins every single delegate.
Yeah.
Well, how is that democracy?
He got fucked twice.
And he took it, which really made me angry.
Yes.
He took it.
Because, like, you know, I disagree. He obviously has some extreme policies. I'm not where he is for sure. But, like, I respected him as a guy who he had his finger on the pulse. He knew where the problems were with the average American. Like, he and Donald Trump simultaneously in 2015, 2016 understood that. And it's like, I think he still understands a lot of those things. Yeah. But he won't. You know, this is a guy who's been listed as independent for so many years, too. Like,
most
now
of his life.
But it's like something stopping him from saying the quiet part out loud. What is that?
When I worked in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I had this routine. I'm an early riser. So I get to the office early, I put on a pot of coffee, and then I would go downstairs to the Senate cafeteria to get a bagel. And every single day, there's Bernie Sanders sitting in the very first table, inviting anybody who wants to sit, talk about any issue they want to talk about. Didn't even care if you were from Vermont or not. And the only thing he insisted on was that you call him Bernie.
I love that.
I loved it too. And then, you know that old phrase from Animal House, thank you, sir. May I have another? Yeah. Well, it's like that's what he said to the DNC. Yeah. Here, let's give you a whack across the ass. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Something else is there.
Something's going on.
Something else is there. Because like to his credit, he still when the DNC ran Kamala and they were embarrassed by that, they ran from a lot of non-mainstream media. They're like, oh, let's not do it, and it cost him the election. Right. He's the one guy who didn't. He still went on these shows while this was all going on. Gave his and I respect that, but it's like, what's the other part?
People ask me all the time who I like for 2028, And the answer is nobody.
Yeah.
I don't like anybody.
Join the club. Yeah.
I hate to say that, but I really don't like anybody.
Everyone's bought by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it is. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.